My name is Greg Harlan, and I manage 3 chain restaurants in suburban Cleveland. Not glamorous work, but it pays the bills and keeps my wife Alicia in her designer workout clothes. Tonight, I'm standing in Richard's living room dressed as a pirate, watching my marriage dissolve in real time. The Halloween party is in full swing. Richard and his wife Nikki throw this bash every year, and half the neighborhood shows up. I'm nursing my second beer, trying not to stare at my wife across the room. She's dressed as Catwoman, all curves and black leather, laughing at something Dominic Martinez is whispering in her ear. Dominic works at the steel plant and thinks his biceps make him God's gift to married women. Tonight, he's Tarzan, which basically means he's shirtless with a fake leopard print loincloth. His wife Susie is somewhere in the kitchen, probably gossiping with the other wives about whose husband drinks too much. "You look like you're planning someone's funeral," Richard says, appearing at my elbow. He's dressed as a vampire, complete with plastic fangs that make him lisp. "Just enjoying the show," I tell him, nodding toward Alicia and Dominic. They're standing too close, her hand resting on his chest while she throws her head back in exaggerated laughter. "Come on, man. It's just party flirting. Everyone does it." Maybe Richard believes that. Maybe he needs to believe it. But I've been married to Alicia for 12 years, and I know her tells. The way she touches her hair when she's interested. The little bite of her lower lip when she's considering something she shouldn't. The way she angles her body towards someone she wants. Right now, she's doing all three. I take another swig of beer and try to focus on the conversation happening around me. Karen from down the street is complaining about her teenager's grades. Mike Thompson is explaining why the Browns are definitely going to the playoffs this year. Normal suburban party talk. But my attention keeps drifting back to Alicia. She's moved closer to Dominic now. Their conversation apparently so fascinating that she needs to lean in to hear him over the music. Her hand is still on his chest. "Greg!" Susie Martinez appears beside me, dressed as Wonder Woman. She's had a few drinks, judging by the way she's swaying slightly. "Your wife looks amazing tonight. That costume is perfect on her." "Thanks," I manage. "You look great, too." Susie beams and does a little spin, her golden lasso spinning with her. "Dom picked it out. He said I needed something that showed off my assets." She winks at me, then leans in conspiratorially. "Between you and me, I think our spouses make a cute pair tonight. Tarzan and Catwoman." The beer suddenly tastes like ash in my mouth. "Yeah, cute. Oh, don't look so serious. It's Halloween. Everyone's allowed to be someone else for one night, right?" She pats my arm and bounces away, presumably to spread more cheerful observations about my wife's flirtation. I watch Alicia laugh at something Dominic says, her hand now resting on his arm. They look like they're sharing private jokes, like they have their own little world that doesn't include spouses or consequences. The thing is, this isn't new. For the past 3 months, Alicia's been working late more often, going to the gym at odd hours, taking phone calls in the other room. When I ask about her day, she gives me the highlights reel version, all surface and no substance. Last week, I found a receipt in her purse for a restaurant I'd never been to. When I mentioned it, she said it was a work lunch, but the receipt was for 2 dinners and a bottle of wine at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. I could have confronted her then. Should have, probably. But part of me hoped I was wrong. Part of me wanted to believe that 12 years of marriage meant something, that the mother of my 2 kids wouldn't throw it all away for some muscle-bound factory worker with commitment issues. Watching her now, seeing how she lights up when Dominic whispers something in her ear, I realize how naive I've been. "You okay, buddy?" Richard is back, this time with Nikki in tow. She's dressed as a witch, complete with a pointed hat that keeps sliding sideways. "I'm fine," I lie, "just thinking about work stuff." Nikki follows my gaze to where Alicia and Dominic are now slow dancing to a song that definitely isn't slow. "Oh, honey," she says softly, "how long has this been going on?" So I'm not imagining it. Even Nikki can see what's happening. I don't know, I admit. Months, maybe. Richard's face darkens behind his vampire makeup. That's messed up, man. At our party, in front of everyone. It's not your fault, I tell him. This was happening long before tonight. We stand there in awkward silence, watching my marriage implode in slow motion. Other people are starting to notice too. I can see the sideways glances, the whispered conversations behind raised hands. By tomorrow morning, the whole neighborhood will know that Greg Harlan's wife was all over Dominic Martinez at the Halloween party. The song ends, but Alicia and Dominic don't separate. Instead, he leans down and says something in her ear that makes her giggle and blush like a teenager. Then he takes her hand and leads her toward the kitchen. I need another beer, I announce, even though my current one is still half full. Greg, wait, Nikki starts, but I'm already moving. I follow them into the kitchen, where Dominic has Alicia pressed against the counter. They're not kissing, but they might as well be. He's got one hand on the granite beside her hip, leaning in close while she looks up at him with an expression I haven't seen in years. Getting some air? I ask, stepping into the room. They spring apart like guilty teenagers. Alicia's cheeks are flushed. Whether from embarrassment or excitement, I can't tell. Greg, we were just talking about the gym. Dom was telling me about this new trainer they hired. The gym, I repeat, at 11 p.m. on Halloween. Dominic straightens up, puffing out his chest. Problem, Harlan? Not yet, I say evenly, but the night's still young. Alicia steps between us, one hand on my chest. Let's not make a scene, okay? It's Richard and Nikki's party. Right, wouldn't want to ruin the party. I look directly at Dominic. Some people have no respect for other people's hospitality. What's that supposed to mean? Dominic takes a step forward. It means a real man doesn't hit on someone else's wife at a friend's party. And a real man doesn't ignore his wife so much that she needs to find conversation elsewhere. The words hit like a punch to the gut because there's truth in them. I have been working long hours lately. I have been distracted, tired, maybe not as attentive as I should be, but that doesn't give him the right to move in on my marriage. Guys, please, Alicia says, but she's looking at Dominic when she says it. Worried about him, not me. That's when I know for certain. This isn't just flirting. This isn't just a Halloween party getting out of hand. This is something real, something that's been building for months while I was too busy managing restaurants and paying mortgages to notice. You know what? I set my beer down on the counter with deliberate care. You two deserve each other. I turn and walk out of the kitchen, through the living room full of costumed neighbors who are definitely watching now, and out the front door into the cold October night. Behind me, I can hear Alicia calling my name, but I don't turn around. I'm done being the fool in this particular story. I make it halfway to my car before the front door slams open behind me. Footsteps crunch on the fallen leaves, and I know without looking that it's not Alicia coming after me. Running away, Harlan? Dominic's voice carries across Richard's front yard. That's about what I expected. I stop walking and turn around. He's standing on the porch, still shirtless despite the 40-degree weather, his chest puffed out like a rooster in a barnyard. What do you want, Dominic? Just thought we should clear the air, man to man. Clear the air. I walk back toward the house, stopping at the bottom of the porch steps. Okay, let's clear it. How long have you been sleeping with my wife? He grins, and I want to wipe that expression off his face with my fist. Back in high school, I boxed Golden Gloves. Never made it past regionals, but I learned how to throw a punch that counted. Who says I'm sleeping with her? He asks. The way she looks at you, the way you look at her, the way you were practically undressing her with your eyes in there. Maybe that says more about what she's not getting at home. The front door opens again, and this time it is Alicia, followed by Susie and Richard. Great, now we have an audience. Greg, come back inside, Alicia says. We can talk about this at home. No, I say, not taking my eyes off Dominic. I think we should talk about it right here, right now, in front of everyone. Don't be ridiculous, Susie chimes in. You're making a scene over nothing. They were just talking. Talking. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. Is that what we're calling it? Dominic steps down off the porch, bringing us to eye level. Your wife is a grown woman, Harlan. If she wants to have a conversation with someone who actually pays attention to her, that's her choice. And if she wants to have an affair with someone who treats his own wife like furniture, I guess that's her choice too. Susie gasps. How dare you? Dom would never… Dom's been cheating on you for years, I interrupt, the words coming out harder than I intended. Everyone knows it except you. The silence that follows is deafening. Even the music from inside the house seems muted. Dominic's face goes red. You don't know what you're talking about. I know you were at Murphy's Tavern last Tuesday night with a blonde who wasn't your wife. I know because my assistant manager saw you there when he went to pick up takeout. Susie turns to look at her husband, confusion and hurt written across her face. Dom? Is that true? Susie, don't listen to him. He's just trying to… Answer the question, she says, her voice smaller now. Dominic looks trapped, caught between his wife and his lies. It wasn't what it looked like. What did it look like? Susie asks. Like a man having dinner with a woman who isn't his wife, I say. Kind of like what was happening in Richard's kitchen 10 minutes ago. Alicia finally speaks up. Greg, you're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. This is insane, Dominic says. You're making stuff up because you're jealous. Jealous of what? Your sparkling personality? Your commitment to your marriage vows? Jealous because your wife would rather spend time with me than with you. The words hang in the air like a challenge. Around us, more people have started to drift out of the party, drawn by the raised voices and the drama unfolding on Richard's front lawn. Is that what this is about? I ask Alicia. You'd rather spend time with him? She doesn't answer immediately, which is an answer in itself. Greg, she finally says, we can discuss this at home. No, let's discuss it here, in front of your boyfriend and his wife and half the neighborhood. Let's get everything out in the open. Stop it, she hisses. You're embarrassing yourself. I'm embarrassing myself? I laugh again, and this time there's genuine amazement in it. I'm not the one who was grinding against someone else's husband in my friend's kitchen. We were dancing. You were doing something, but it wasn't dancing. Dominic steps closer to me. You need to watch your mouth, Harlan. Or what? You'll do something about it? In front of all these witnesses? Maybe I will. Dom, don't, Susie pleads, but he's not listening to her anymore. You want to know the truth? Dominic says, his voice getting louder. Your wife came to me. She's the one who started this. She's the one who said she was lonely, that you don't appreciate her. Dominic, shut up, Alicia snaps, but it's too late. She's the one who suggested we meet for coffee. She's the one who said she needed someone who understood her. Dom, please stop. Susie is crying now. And she's the one who said her husband was too busy counting register receipts to notice she was alive. That's when I hit it. It's not a wild haymaker or a drunken swing. It's a clean, straight right hand that catches him square on the jaw and sends him stumbling backward into Richard's decorative pumpkins. The crowd gasps. Someone screams. Dominic sits up among the smashed pumpkins, his mouth slightly open, looking stunned. Greg! Alicia rushes toward Dominic, kneeling beside him. Are you okay? She's asking him if he's okay. Not me. Not her husband of 12 years who just found out his marriage is over. She's worried about the man who's been sleeping with her behind my back. I'm fine, Dominic says, accepting her help to stand up. There's pumpkin pulp in his hair and his jaw is already starting to swell. You're insane, Susie says to me, but she's not helping her husband up. She's standing there with tears streaming down her face, finally understanding what everyone else has known for months. Richard, I say to my friend, who's been watching this whole thing with his mouth hanging open. Thanks for the party. Sorry about the pumpkins. I turn and walk toward my car, leaving behind the wreckage of my marriage and what used to be my social circle. Greg, wait, Alicia calls after me. I stop and turn around one more time. She's standing next to Dominic, her hand on his arm, looking at me like I'm the one who's done something wrong. What? I ask. How are you getting home? I'll figure it out. Don't be ridiculous. I'll drive you. No thanks. I'd rather walk than get in a car with you right now. Greg, please. We need to talk about this. We needed to talk about this 3 months ago, before you decided to share our problems with Tarzan over there. I get in my car and drive away, leaving my wife standing in another man's arms in front of half the neighborhood. In my rearview mirror, I can see them all watching me go. The party's over, but the real show is just getting started. I don't go home. Instead, I drive to Murphy's Tavern, the same place where Dominic was spotted with his mystery blonde. It's the kind of bar where nobody asks questions, and the bartender doesn't try to be your therapist. The place is nearly empty on Halloween night. Most people are at parties or home handing out candy to trick-or-treaters. I'm still wearing my pirate costume, minus the hat that fell off somewhere during my dramatic exit. Rough night? Asks the bartender, a woman in her 50s with graying hair and tired eyes. You could say that. What can I get you? Whiskey. Make it a double. She pours the drink without comment and slides it across the bar. I down it in one gulp and signal for another. Slow down there, Captain, she says, but she pours the refill anyway. My wife is cheating on me, I announce to the mostly empty bar. Sorry to hear that. With a guy who looks like he bench presses small cars for fun. That's rough. Found out at a Halloween party, in front of half my neighborhood. Ouch. I appreciate that she's not trying to give me advice or tell me everything happens for a reason. Sometimes you just need someone to acknowledge that your life has turned into a country song. My phone buzzes. Text message from Alicia. Where are you? We need to talk. I turn the phone face down and order another drink. The bartender, whose name tag reads Karen, sets down the whiskey and gives me a look. You want to talk about it or you want to drink about it? Can I do both? It's your liver. So I tell her the whole story. The months of suspicion, the late nights at work that weren't really work, the phone calls Alicia took in the other room, the way she'd started dressing differently, working out more, buying new perfume. How long were you married? Karen asks. 12 years. 2 kids. Kids always make it complicated. They're at my mother's tonight. Sleepover so we could go to the party. I laugh bitterly. Good thing they weren't there to see Daddy punch Mommy's boyfriend. You hit him? 1 shot. Put him on his rear end in a pile of pumpkins. Karen grins. Good for you. I don't think Alicia saw it that way. She was more worried about him than me. That tells you everything you need to know. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Richard. Dude, where are you? Alicia is freaking out. I show the message to Karen. My friend thinks I should go home and work things out. What do you think? I think my marriage ended the minute she decided to confide in another man instead of her husband. Probably right about that. We sit in comfortable silence for a while. The whiskey is starting to work, dulling the sharp edges of anger and humiliation. But underneath the alcohol, something else is building, something colder and more calculated than rage. You know what the worst part is? I say finally. What's that? She made me look like a fool in front of everyone. The whole neighborhood saw me standing there like an idiot while she flirted with him. They all knew what was happening before I did. People love to watch other people's drama, makes them feel better about their own problems. Well, I gave them quite a show tonight. Sounds like she's the one who gave them a show. You just provided the finale. My phone rings. Alicia again. I let it go to voicemail. You going to answer that eventually? Karen asks. Eventually, but not tonight. Where are you planning to sleep? I have no idea. There's a motel about 2 miles down the road, clean sheets, cable TV, and nobody asking you to work things out. Sounds perfect? I finish my drink and leave a generous tip. Karen has earned it. Thanks for listening, I tell her. Come back anytime. I'll be here. The motel is exactly what she promised. Clean, quiet, and anonymous. I sit on the edge of the bed, still in my pirate costume, and finally listen to Alicia's voicemail. Greg, I know you're angry, but we need to talk. This isn't what you think it is. I made a mistake tonight, but it's not what it looked like. Please come home so we can discuss this like adults. Not what it looked like. Right. I delete the message and turn off the phone. Tomorrow I'll have to face the consequences of tonight. I'll have to figure out lawyers and custody arrangements and how to divide 12 years of shared life. I'll have to explain to my kids why Daddy doesn't live at home anymore. But tonight, I just want to sit in this anonymous room and plan my next move. Because this isn't over, not by a long shot. Dominic Martinez thinks he can move in on my marriage and walk away without consequences. Alicia thinks she can humiliate me in public and then smooth it over with explanations and excuses. They're both wrong. I may have lost the battle tonight, but the war is just beginning, and I have advantages they don't know about yet. I manage security systems for corporate clients. I know how to find information, how to dig up secrets, how to make people's lives very uncomfortable when they cross the wrong person. Dominic Martinez is about to learn that some husbands don't just roll over and disappear quietly, and Alicia is about to discover that the man she married is capable of things she never imagined. I wake up in the motel room with a headache and a clarity I haven't felt in months. The pirate costume is crumpled on the floor, and sunlight is streaming through cheap curtains. My phone shows 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. I ignore them all and head for the shower. By the time I'm dressed in yesterday's clothes, I've made several decisions. First, I'm not going home to have a discussion with Alicia. Second, I'm not going to make this easy for anyone involved. Third, I'm going to make sure that when this is over, everyone knows exactly who was the victim and who were the villains. My first stop is Richard's house. I need to pick up my car, and I want to hear what happened after I left. Richard answers the door in his bathrobe, looking like he hasn't slept much either. Thank God, he says. Alicia's been calling here all night looking for you. What did you tell her? That I didn't know where you were? Which was true. He steps aside to let me in. Coffee? Please. Nikki appears in the kitchen doorway, also in a bathrobe. Greg, honey, are you okay? I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. They exchange a look that suggests they think I might be having some kind of breakdown. Look, Richard says, pouring coffee into a mug that reads, World's Best Dad. I know last night was rough, but maybe you should go home and try to work things out. For the kids, if nothing else. The kids will be fine. Kids adapt. It's the adults who have trouble with change. Greg, Nikki sits down across from me at their kitchen table. Alicia came back inside after you left. She was crying. She said it was all a misunderstanding. What about Dominic? Was he crying too? He left right after you did. Susie went with him, but she didn't look happy. I imagine not. Finding out your husband is a cheater tends to ruin the evening. Is that really true? Richard asks. About him being at Murphy's with another woman? My assistant manager doesn't lie. He saw what he saw. But how do you know it was a date? Maybe it was work-related or something. I look at my friend, this man I've known since high school, and realize he's still trying to make sense of a world where people don't betray each other, where marriages don't explode at Halloween parties and neighbors don't cheat with neighbors. Richard, I say gently, Dominic Martinez doesn't work with blonde women. He works at a steel plant with a bunch of guys who look like him. And even if he did work with women, you don't take work colleagues to Murphy's Tavern at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. Maybe you're right, he admits. But what are you going to do about it? I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth. What does that mean? It means I'm not going to slink away quietly while they rewrite history to make themselves look better. Nikki reaches across the table and touches my hand. Revenge isn't going to make you feel better, Greg. Maybe not, but it'll make me feel something other than stupid. I finish my coffee and stand up. Thanks for the hospitality, and sorry about the pumpkins. Forget the pumpkins, Richard says. Just promise me you won't do anything crazy. Define crazy. Greg. I'm not going to hurt anyone if that's what you're worried about, but I'm also not going to pretend this didn't happen. I drive to my mother's house to pick up the kids. She lives in the same neighborhood where I grew up, about 20 minutes from the suburban paradise Alicia and I created together. Mom takes one look at me and knows something's wrong. Coffee? She asks. I've had enough coffee. Where are Jake and Emma? Still sleeping. It's not even 9 a.m. She studies my face. What happened? I give her the abbreviated version. Mom listens without interrupting, her expression growing more grim with each detail. I never liked that woman, she says when I finish. Mom, I'm serious. Too concerned with appearances, not enough substance. And the way she talked to you sometimes, like you were an employee instead of her husband. You never said anything. It wasn't my place, but now it is. She pours herself coffee and sits down at the kitchen table where I ate breakfast for 18 years. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, but I'm not going to just roll over. Good. Your father would have done the same thing. Dad died 5 years ago, but Mom still talks about him like he just stepped out to the garage. I wonder what he would think about this situation. Probably would have punched Dominic harder. Can the kids stay here for a few more days? I ask. Until I figure out living arrangements? Of course. But they're going to want to know why Daddy isn't coming home. I'll talk to them. Jake and Emma are 8 and 10, old enough to understand that something's wrong, but not old enough to handle the details. I tell them that Mommy and Daddy need some time apart to work through some problems, and that they'll be staying with Grandma for a little while. Emma, who's always been the more perceptive of the two, asks if we're getting divorced. I don't know yet, sweetheart. Maybe. Is it because of something we did? No, baby. This has nothing to do with you or Jake. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, and those mistakes have consequences. Jake, who's 8 and still believes the world makes sense, asks if we can just say we're sorry and fix it. Some things can't be fixed just by saying sorry, I tell him. After I leave Mom's house, I drive around for a while, thinking. I end up at the office of my security company, even though it's Saturday. I have keys, and I need to use the computers for some research. Dominic Martinez thinks he's won something. He thinks he can move in on another man's wife and walk away clean. But Dominic doesn't know that I have access to databases and background check services that most people don't even know exist. By the time I'm finished, I know more about Dominic Martinez than his own mother does. I know about his 3 previous jobs, his credit score, his traffic violations, and his tendency to frequent bars where married men go to meet women who aren't their wives. I also know about his wife Susie's family money and how much of their lifestyle depends on her trust fund. But most importantly, I know about the workers' compensation claim he filed 6 months ago for a back injury that doesn't seem to prevent him from lifting weights at the gym 5 days a week. Information is power, and I'm about to become very powerful indeed. 3 weeks later, Alicia calls with an unusual request. My boss wants to meet you, she says during one of our awkward phone conversations about custody schedules and bill payments. Why? Marcus Torvin, he's the regional director. He's heard a lot about you, and he thinks it would be good for us to have dinner together. Us, meaning you and me? Yes. He said it's important for him to know the families of his key employees. I almost laugh. Alicia has been trying to get me to agree to marriage counseling for 3 weeks, and now she's using her boss as bait. I don't think that's a good idea, Alicia. Please, Greg. This is really important to my career. Marcus specifically asked to meet you. And why would he do that? Because I've been promoted to senior account manager. It comes with a significant raise, and Marcus likes to meet the spouses of his senior staff. A promotion. 3 weeks after her affair became neighborhood gossip, she gets a promotion. Interesting timing. When? I ask. Tomorrow night. 7 p.m. at Chez Laurent downtown. Chez Laurent is expensive, the kind of place where you need reservations and the wine list costs more than most people's car payments. Fine, I say. 1 dinner. But this doesn't mean anything about us. I understand. Thank you, Greg. This means a lot to me. After I hang up, I call my friend Richard. I need a favor, I tell him. What kind of favor? The kind where you don't ask questions until afterward. Richard sighs. What do you need? Access to your corporate investigation software, the stuff you use for background checks on potential employees. Greg, what are you planning? I'm planning to have dinner with my wife and her boss. That's all. That doesn't sound like all. Richard, do you trust me? Usually, but lately you've been different? Focused, in a way that makes me nervous. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I just want to know who I'm having dinner with. There's a long pause. Fine, but you owe me an explanation afterward. Deal. I spend the next 24 hours learning everything there is to know about Marcus Torvin. Regional director of Alicia's marketing firm, 42 years old, divorced, lives in a downtown condo that costs more per month than most people make in a year. On the surface, he looks clean. Good credit, no criminal record, active in local business organizations. The kind of guy who gets his picture in the business journal and sponsors charity golf tournaments. But I dig deeper, using tools and databases that Richard's security company subscribes to. And that's when things get interesting. Marcus Torvin has expensive tastes and a lifestyle that doesn't quite match his legitimate income. The condo, the car, the country club membership, the frequent trips to Las Vegas. It all adds up to more than a regional marketing director should be able to afford. So I dig deeper still. Marcus manages the company's employee retirement fund. $40 million in pension money, invested in various accounts, and managed through a third-party firm. Standard corporate setup, nothing unusual. Except that over the past 18 months, approximately $6 million has been redirected through a series of shell companies incorporated in Delaware. Small amounts, spread over time, designed to avoid detection. But I'm good at detecting things. It's what I do for a living. The shell companies all trace back to accounts controlled by Marcus Torvin, and the timing of the transfers corresponds exactly with Alicia's late nights at work and important client meetings. Marcus isn't just Alicia's boss, he's her partner in embezzlement, and probably more than that. I print out everything I've found and put it in a manila envelope. Then I compose an email with all the documentation attached. The recipients list includes the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, the State Attorney General's office, the company's board of directors, and the business reporter at the Cleveland Plain Dealer. But I don't send it yet. I schedule it for delivery at exactly 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, right about the time we'll be ordering our main course. The next evening, I put on my best suit and drive downtown to Chez Laurent. Alicia is already there, sitting at a corner table with a man who looks like he stepped out of a magazine ad for expensive watches. Marcus Torvin stands as I approach, extending his hand with the confidence of someone who's used to being the most important person in the room. "So you're the husband who's never around," he says with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. I take his hand and match his grip, pressure for pressure. "And you're the boss who's about to lose everything," I reply, maintaining the same pleasant tone. "Check your email." The smile falters slightly. "Excuse me?" "I said check your email. You should have some interesting messages waiting." Marcus laughs, but there's uncertainty in it now. "What kind of messages?" The kind that explain where $6 million in employee pension funds went over the past 18 months. Alicia stops chewing her salad. The color drains from Marcus's face. I don't know what you're talking about, he says, but his hand is already moving toward his phone. Delaware shell companies, I continue conversationally. Offshore accounts, falsified investment reports. Should I go on, or would you prefer to read about it yourself? Marcus pulls out his phone with hands that are no longer quite steady. He opens his email, and I watch his expression change from confusion to recognition to something approaching terror. The FBI should be getting their copy right about now, I say, along with the state attorney general and your company's board of directors. Oh, and the plain dealers business section. They love stories about corporate executives stealing from their employees. Alicia finally finds her voice. Greg, what are you doing? I'm having dinner with my wife and her business partner, although I suppose criminal accomplice might be more accurate. You don't understand, Marcus says, his voice barely above a whisper. I understand that you've been stealing money from people's retirement accounts. I understand that my wife has been helping you, and I understand that you both thought I was too stupid to figure it out. The restaurant continues its quiet bustle around us, other diners unaware that they're witnessing the destruction of 2 lives in real time. Greg, please, Alicia says, we can explain. No need. The documentation explains itself. Bank records, transfer authorizations, forged signatures. It's all very thorough. Marcus's phone starts ringing. He looks at the screen and his face goes even paler. That's probably the FBI, I say helpfully. They work fast when it comes to financial crimes. 2 men in dark suits enter the restaurant and speak quietly with the hostess. She points toward our table. And right on schedule, I add. The federal agents approach our table with the calm professionalism of people who do this for a living. One of them shows his badge to Marcus. Mr. Torvin, we need you to come with us. Marcus stands slowly, his dignity hanging by a thread. This is all a misunderstanding. We'll sort it out at the office, the agent says. As they escort Marcus toward the exit, every eye in the restaurant follows them. The whispered conversations, the pointed stares, the cell phones coming out to record the spectacle. Alicia sits frozen, her fork halfway to her mouth, watching her career and her freedom walk out the door in handcuffs. The car's in the valet lot, I tell her, standing up and dropping my napkin on the table. But you might want to call a lawyer before you drive anywhere. I signal the waiter for the check. I'll be taking the car home. As I walk out of Chez Laurent, leaving my wife sitting alone at a table for 3, I realize that revenge really can be a dish best served cold, and I'm just getting started. The story hits the news the next morning. Regional marketing executive arrested in pension fund scheme runs on the front page of the business section, complete with a photo of Marcus being escorted out of Chez Laurent. Alicia's name appears in the 3rd paragraph as a person of interest in the investigation. My phone starts ringing at 6 a.m. Richard, my mother, neighbors, people I haven't talked to in years. Everyone wants to know if I knew what was happening, if I suspected anything, how I'm handling the scandal. I don't answer any of the calls. Instead, I drive to Murphy's Tavern to have breakfast and read the newspaper in peace. Karen is working the day shift, and she grins when she sees me walk in. Saw the news, she says, pouring coffee without being asked. Busy night last night? You could say that. Your wife make it home okay? I assume so. We're not exactly living together at the moment. Right. The cheating thing. She sets down a plate of eggs and toast. So, this boss of hers, he was the other man? One of them. Karen whistles low. How many were there? At least 2 that I know of. Maybe more. Damn, she was busy. I eat breakfast while Karen tells me about her own divorce 15 years ago. Her husband had been cheating with his secretary, and when she found out, she'd put sugar in his gas tank and mailed copies of his love letters to everyone in his office. Did it make you feel better? I ask. for about 5 minutes. Then I realized I still had to figure out the rest of my life. Any regrets? About the sugar? No. About the marriage? Every day. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Meet me at the park on Elm Street. 1 hour. Dominic. I show the message to Karen. You going? She asks. Might as well. I'm curious what he has to say. Want some advice? Sure. Don't hit him again unless you're sure you can finish it. The park on Elm Street is where I used to take Jake and Emma when they were smaller. Swings, slides, a little pond with ducks. Neutral territory for whatever Dominic wants to discuss. He's waiting by the pond when I arrive, dressed in jeans and a work shirt instead of his usual gym attire. He looks like he's aged 5 years in the past month. Thanks for coming, he says. What do you want, Dominic? I want to apologize. For what? Sleeping with my wife or getting caught? He flinches. For all of it. For what happened at the party, for the things I said, for the whole mess. Okay, you apologized. We done here? Susie left me. I sit down on a park bench. This should be interesting. When? 3 days ago. Took the kids and went to her sister's in Columbus. He sits down on the other end of the bench, careful to maintain distance between us. She filed for divorce yesterday. Sorry to hear that. No, you're not. You're right, I'm not. We sit in silence for a while, watching ducks paddle around the pond. 2 middle-aged men whose lives have been turned upside down by their own choices. She was going to leave you anyway, Dominic says finally. Who? Alicia. She told me she was going to ask for a divorce after the holidays. And you believed her? I wanted to believe her. There's a difference. Yeah, I'm starting to figure that out. Another silence. A jogger runs past, earbuds in, oblivious to our conversation. The thing is, Dominic continues, I don't think she was ever going to leave you. I think I was just entertainment until something better came along. Like her boss? You knew about that? I know about a lot of things. Dominic turns to look at me directly for the first time since I arrived. You set them up, didn't you? The arrest, the investigation. That wasn't coincidence. I don't know what you mean. Right. He stands up. For what it's worth, I hope you get your kids back. I never lost them. Good. They shouldn't have to pay for their mother's mistakes. He walks away, leaving me alone with the ducks, and the growing realization that my revenge might be more complete than I'd planned. That evening, Alicia calls. We need to talk, she says. I'm listening. Not on the phone. Can you come to the house? It's my house too, Alicia. I don't need permission to come home. You know what I mean. I find her in the kitchen, sitting at the table where we used to eat breakfast together every morning for 12 years. She's still beautiful, but there's something brittle about her now, like she might shatter if touched too hard. The FBI came to see me today, she says, without preamble. I figured they would. They want me to testify against Marcus. Are you going to? I don't have much choice. My lawyer says cooperation is my best chance of avoiding prison. Prison. The word hangs between us like a physical presence. How much trouble are you in? I ask. A lot. They have documentation going back 18 months. Emails, bank records, everything. Everything? She looks up at me with eyes that are red from crying. You did this. Somehow, you found out about Marcus and you turned us in. I found out about a lot of things. This isn't just about the money, is it? This is about Dominic. This is about you lying to me for months. About you making me look like a fool in front of our friends and neighbors. About you putting our family at risk for your own selfish desires. I made mistakes. You made choices. There's a difference. She starts crying then, real tears that might even be genuine. I'm going to lose everything, she says. My job, my freedom, my children. You lost those things the minute you decided to steal from people's retirement accounts. Greg, please, I know you hate me right now. but I'm still the mother of your children. They need me. They need a mother they can respect, someone who makes good choices and tells the truth. I can be that person. When? Between court appearances and prison visits? The words are cruel, but I'm past caring about her feelings. She destroyed our marriage, betrayed our friends, and committed federal crimes. The consequences are her own doing. What do you want from me? She asks. I want you to sign the divorce papers without fighting for custody. I want you to agree to supervised visitation until you get your legal problems sorted out, and I want you to stay away from Dominic Martinez. That's already over. Good, because if I find out you're still seeing him, I'll make sure the FBI knows about every detail of your relationship, including the timeline. She stares at me like she's seeing a stranger. You've changed, she says. No, Alicia. I just stopped pretending to be someone I'm not. Thunder rumbles outside, and the first drops of rain begin hitting the kitchen window. A storm is coming, and I realize that I've become something I never thought I could be. I've become the storm.